Hello, everybody. We are going to go over recovery today. This is one of the things that I talk about a lot and something that people seem to have their interest piqued over. So I thought the best thing that I could do is not just talk about it, but give you some sort of objective way. Now, up front, this is 100% free, and I just want to try to help you guys to try to get the most out of yourselves. The link is in the description if you want to try it for yourself. I'm going to talk through how to use it and why exactly it's been developed the way that it has. It says it in the title here. This is really going to help you determine when you're ready to push hard and when you have to pull back. Our ability to recover is not necessarily always the same. Well, it definitely isn't the same. Your sleep could vary. Your life stress could vary. So many different things day to day. This could be a tool for you to use pre-workout or once a week just to check in. How are we going with our whole life, and am I demanding too much of myself? Because if you do, you're going to start down the injury pathway. And as someone who's been on 13 straight podiums, this is probably my major consideration, is if I show up to a show healthy, I will be good. But being healthy at a show is not as easy as it is said. Okay. So first, you're going to give yourself a score of 0 to 10 on each of these categories. When you do, you're going to add that up and you're going to have a score for that category. Number one, and the most important thing in my opinion, is sleep. So we're starting with sleep. The variables by which sleep is important, we're going to start with the number of hours. This is very straightforward, and a 10 would be more than 9 hours of sleep. Traditional advice is somewhere between 7 and 9 hours. It falls at 8, but if we're athletes and we're looking to push our body, you're going to need a little bit more than 8. So 9 is going to get you a perfect score. Screen time. The screen and the blue light in particular is something that can affect your sleep quite a bit. Now, if you use the screen with no blue light, you're going to give yourself a 2. No screen but volume on is going to be a 4, all the way up to greater than 60 minutes before bed, you're not using a screen at all. Okay? If you can swap out your phone for reading, this will have a marked impact on your ability to recover. Room temperature is another one. There is really good scientific evidence around the quality of your sleep and the temperature of the room. So 18 degrees is scientifically what they say is the number one best temperature for you to be sleeping at. I assume that no one's sleeping colder than 18 degrees, so I didn't put that in, and obviously this is in Celsius. I didn't put that in, but as we go up, we're going to drop that score down. Okay, this could win you an argument with your wife. There is some ambiguity here. Of course, if you use one of those mattress covers that could be cold on one side, you're actually going to be a little bit colder. So you will have to decide for yourself, where are we at? But it should be slightly colder than a standard room. Number of times you've gotten up through the night, this could be for any reason. If you don't get up at all, that's 0 times, and that's a perfect score. Lastly, normal bedtime. We have traditional circadian rhythms, and those circadian rhythms, they don't care if you're a shift worker. They don't care if you have a baby. It wants you to go to bed when the sun goes down, full stop, simple as that. This means that our sleep before midnight is traditionally more useful and valuable than our sleep after midnight. A sleep that goes from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., that 8-hour chunk is going to be better than if you went from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. You can do some things to get around this, of course. You could get blackout curtains. You could do everything possible to make sure that that sleep score is as high as possible and your circadian rhythm is as good as it can be. But in the end, if you're, say, a shift worker, this is going to impact your sleep quality and will impact how much you're able to train. Now, that sleep score is going to give you a score out of 50. We're going to hold that for a second. And we're going to go to life score. Now, life stress is another one. We exist in fight or flight during our training 100% of the time. That's what we have to do. That's the system that's working, is the sympathetic nervous system. If we get our parasympathetic system stimulated, aka our rest, digest, and recover system, that's going to be where we're able to actually repair our tissues and actually have our nervous system, our sympathetic nervous system, come down. This is a push and a pull. They can't both be active. They can't both be inactive. One has to be going. So life stress is going to increase the sympathetic system. If that's always high, your ability to have that high during training is going to slowly taper off, and we're going to be in this state where you only have the sympathetic system running at sort of a shitty level, and you're not going to be able to increase your training, or you're not going to be able to recover properly. So number one is job stress. This is totally ambiguous, but just rate your job stress on a score of 0 to 10, and wherever that happens to fall for how you feel. This does not matter if you're CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, but you find it really fun and you're not stressed about it. Unlikely, but that could be a 10. You could be a line cook, and it's just a really busy restaurant, and maybe you don't love it, and that could be very stressful, and you might have to score yourself down at a 0. Now, this, important, a 0 job stress does not mean you're not stressed at all. A 0 means that you are highly stressed. 10 is a perfect score. Next is our financial stress. Goes without saying, this is probably a major consideration for a lot of people. Rate that 0 to 10. Your partner stability. Now, I say stability. It's not that you need a partner. It's mostly in that's one of the major stresses for a lot of people, is your ability to get along with your partner, or if you don't have one, I really want one. That is something that impacts our lives more than you might think. In an evolutionary sense, our genes are made for us to grow up into adults, to find a partner, to have a kid, etc., etc. Does not have to be the standard. And your partner stability, you could score yourself a 10 if you're single, if you just go, I'm really happy doing that right now. That's where I'm at in my life, and it doesn't bother me at all. But be honest with yourself on that one. Next is your family relationships and trusted friends. Generally speaking, how are they going? Are they something that weighs on you? Do you have a little bit of turmoil in your family? Have you lost a trusted friend? Have you gained a trusted friend? All of that going to impact your score. Again, that score is going to add up to 50. This is category 2 of 3. Number 3, we've got nutrition. A little bit more guidance on this one, but again, you will fall somewhere in between. Your urine, is it clear? Is it brown? Anywhere in between. Okay, where are you falling? What's your score? Your fruit, how much fruit are you having? 3 or more servings gives you a 10. Veg, 6 servings gives you a 10. Percent of nutrition from whole foods, if 100% is whole foods, you get a perfect score. Now, if you can't use whole foods, you must use a high quality protein. You must not be using weight gainer. Please, it's full of crap for the most part. Isolate is where you're going to go, okay? If you can't go whole foods, you need a couple of protein shakes. For me, diesel protein, number 1, no questions asked. Next, weight change per week. This is a major stress on the body, of course. Less than 1% are staying relatively the same. It's going to give you a 10, and changing 4% is going to give you a 0. For people who vary a lot day to day, I would be one of them. A lot of people fall in this category. If you weigh yourself every day and you take the weekly average, compare your weekly average from Wednesday to Wednesday to the next Wednesday to next Wednesday, that can be a way to get around those daily variations and just go, am I stressing my body by trying to change my body composition substantially? That's going to give you a score out of 50 as well. Now we've got 3 scores. We've got our sleep score. We've got our life stress score. We've got our nutrition score. This is going to give you a total score. And then based on that, you've got a training intensity guide. From -1 to +2. -1, your goal should be around active recovery and staying healthy. Try to get that score up, but it's not time for you to push hard. 75 to 100 is a 0. You're probably going to have a small reduction in strength and capacity if you're at a 0. This is assuming that you're highly trained. If you're not highly trained, you can be at a 0 and continue to push ahead slowly, but you must be careful about it. At 100 to 125, 2 to 3% a week can be expected for someone who's trained, up to the point where you need to deload. Okay? All of this, when it comes to programming, my program links are also in the description. You can use those in accompaniment with this to be able to get the most out of your training. Last, we've got 135 to 150. These are people leaving no stone unturned. This is time to push hard. This is time to hit PBs. And No Stone Unturned is the series that I'm doing when I'm not just getting this stuff right, I'm also doing all of the other cutting edge stuff to make sure that I am getting absolutely everything out of my body. And that's a +2. Go ahead, click the link in the description, download this, use it for yourself, comment what your score is, and maybe what you could do to increase your score. There's a lot of things where you don't have to change your life a lot, but you can make dramatic improvements. Thanks a lot, guys. As per usual, lift heavy, be kind, and we will speak to you soon.